That, ladies and gentlemen, is a cheat move.
Round 2, fight.
You gonna learn today.
No, you're not. You're using a cheat move. No, you're using a cheat move. No, you're cheating.
You're gonna learn. This is the real world. You learn it early, son.
That's all you ever do in your house? I'm done playing now.
Blocking is one of the most important defensive techniques to master in any fighting game, because one missed block can be the difference between life and death. Now I'm not kidding when I tell you that, especially in this game. If you wanted to improve your defense, punish game, and escaping throws, don't worry dog, I got you. Welcome to my video on how to improve at blocking in Mortal Kombat 1. What is going on guys, my name is Mad Dog Games, your fighting game sensei. Today we're going to talk about blocking in Mortal Kombat 1. It is a fundamental that is extremely overlooked and no one really talks about this on YouTube or anywhere. But before I do, there's some things I have to mention first. If you're having trouble and need to figure out how to get started and overcome the common problems new players face, then you'll join my beginner tips series. This is the third episode of the series. But I also have another playlist on the channel if you're interested. All of that will be found in the description down below. And be sure to stick around until the end of this video because I'll be announcing the next topic video for the series. If you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, be sure to give this thumbs up to help support my channel. With that being said, let us get started. In case this is your first fighting game and have not gone over the tutorial on what blocking is, let us take a quick recap for those that are brand new. Blocking is your way to negate heavy damage from your opponent's attacks and stop them from opening you up for doing a combo. There is stand blocking, crouching blocking, and then up blocking. We'll go over up blocking later. A couple of things you need to know about this is that while you're blocking, your opponent still builds meter. So it's best for you to not let them build that meter for their advantage. Not only that, blocking does not negate all the damage. You still receive chip damage, which means you'll still receive a tiny bit of damage while you're blocking. Special moves tend to do the most chip damage to you. Now, one of the hardest parts about blocking is knowing which type of blocks you need to use against your opponent. A quick overview is that stand blocking covers overhead, highs, and mid attacks. Crouch blocking covers mid and low attacks. Up blocking has been introduced and is a new mechanic where you look up and block. This is mainly used against a jumping opponent. A couple of things that you have to keep in mind is that this block can only be held for slightly shorter than a second, so it can't be abused. It has to be calculated. Another thing, this changes your opponent's frame data. For example, let's say they jump to start their offense. Normally this puts them plus 4 or 5 frames to let them press another button. In this case, let's have them block to show you that they're still safe. But if I were to up block, this will leave them negative, not allowing them to even block on time. This means you can punish him right away. Unfortunately, this doesn't show me how negative they are, which I'm not sure why. Another interesting thing about this is that against certain characters that have aerial pressure, like Sindel or Kung Lao, this can be used in between their attacks to punish them when they come down. Just something to also think about. This mechanic is currently overlooked right now and it isn't popular since many still are experimenting with this. But right now, let's have you get the habit of holding on the block button. Speaking of which, that is our next segment. There's only one way someone can get better at blocking, and that is through practice. But not just any practice, it's an effective drill that I use to help me quickly learn how to block. So the first thing I want you to do is go to training mode, go to settings, and set the AI to hard or very hard. Don't worry, you're not expected to fight this AI. This is just to have the AI do attacks on you quickly. The whole point of this exercise is to build muscle memory, meaning that when you're hesitating or trying to anticipate something, your muscles will know what to do in every moment of the fight. Take around 5 to 10 minutes and just block. That is all you have to do. This is all about getting the habit to block and trying to guess your opponent's next move. Try to handle this pressure and block their incomings, overheads, and lows. It will be challenging at first, but eventually you'll get the hang of it. By the way, I forgot to mention an interesting technique that involves blocking that I think you should be somewhat familiar with, and that is fuzzy guarding. Fuzzy Guard is the ability to quickly and precisely change your block in order to cover any types of attacks, that being overhead and low attack options. That could be difficult to react on because they come out somewhat at the same time. For example, Johnny Cage and Kung Lao have a pretty good synergy because of the mix-up potential. At far range, using low hat toss as a projectile is good and can regenerate quickly, but the best part is that he can hold on to this ability and let go whenever he wants it. This means he can get creative and use this overhead along with it, which then creates an overhead and low attack option, or an overhead and low option, or even both at the same time. However, sometimes it's not always consistent, and that is your opportunity to block both of them at the same time. By fuzzy guarding, you could block them by moving up and down quickly and be able to avoid them. This is just a soft example because other characters like Rain do have a hard blockable, which involves his trap and can do the same. But the timing can change depending how well they execute it. So fuzzy guarding is a good option to know. Another benefit for doing this exercise is also learning how to escape throws. You'll notice the AI will be grabbing you when they get the chance. You'll have to react pretty quickly if you want to tech a throw. The way you escape throws is by pressing 2 or 4 if it's a forward throw, or by pressing 1 or 4 if it's a back throw. And it has to be in the first few frames when you're grabbed. But some of you might ask, how can we know immediately which one? Unfortunately, it's a 50-50 guess. It's about which one you're more comfortable with pressing in a flash. Against a real opponent, they always tend to go with their favorite ones repeatedly, so take note which one they like using often, and try to counter it the best you can. Sometimes mashing on it helps. By taking the time to practice, you'll notice your defense will get better and better. Blocking honestly is not the hardest part of your defense. It's punishing, countering, and being able to read your opponent. But we'll talk about that more later in the video. So let's go ahead and now talk about the best way to know what attacks your opponent might use and how you could defend against it. The purpose of this training tactic is to learn how to improve at blocking, and the best way to know what your opponent might use is by knowing the character matchups. So in other words, knowing the opponent's tools and attacks. If you're having a hard time against a character, pick them and learn how to block their attacks. For example, I'll pick Smoke because he had overheads and low options that I wasn't familiar with just yet. Anyways, try your best to block their options. Obviously, we're taking guesses to which mix-up they might use. We are human and we can't block everything. But once you feel like you got a good understanding of what types of things you need to look out for, challenge yourself and try it at the corner. The corner is a spot where a lot of players, and especially beginner players, struggle at. You'll notice blocking at the corner will be intense and the pressure will be very high. That is why we're doing this exercise, to have a better reading and reaction. Eventually you feel more comfortable defending their attacks, then try to learn how to block against other character matchups. Maybe go through each character roster and try to prepare yourself and learn how to block against them. I sometimes like to play towers to get that exposure, because there will be times when an online player might choose a rare character that you never fought before, making it very challenging to know where to block, because you have no clue what kind of tools that character offers. If you feel overwhelmed, remember that you have the breaker system available to you once your meter is full. Another thing that is very important if you want to improve at blocking is finding the right time to punish your opponent. But we're going to learn a way that does not involve frame data and that complicated stuff. I managed to play Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat X without knowing all that stuff. It's possible. It's more of a trial and error thing. Punish refers to a guaranteed attack that you could perform during an opponent's recovery after they execute a move. Punishing is a very important tool in footsies because it relies heavily on your anticipation and reaction. However, it's a tool best to learn through practice and experience. And the best way to learn how to punish without having to worry about the frame data and that complicated stuff is to do this exercise. Your goal now is not to only block, but to find the right time to punish your opponent. Most likely, the best time to strike is after the opponent used a combo attack or a special move. This is the part where you experiment on light attacks or heavy moves. Now, the great thing about this punishing practice is that this will help you piece together what tools you should and shouldn't use. I will be going over frame data on the channel, so stick around if you need help with that. Now overall, my years of Mortal Kombat made me realize that a huge part of your success in blocking comes from a huge combination of practicing, online, towers, and its single player content. The more you know about matchups, knowing where to block and punish, the higher advantage you'll be in. These exercises is all about you trying to practice and gaining much experience for you to get ready to face and rear an opponent online. Congratulations guys, you're now in the well path of becoming a great fighting game player. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to getting through these exercises with me. If you guys enjoyed this video and would like to see more, be sure to pause for a moment, and just like learning any new fighting game, I want you to button mash that like button. If you guys have any friends that need help starting off playing this amazing game, be sure to share this video. Help me help newcomers join in the community with ease. For more Mortal Kombat 1 videos, subscribe now and hit the bell icon to know when my videos go live. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Mad Dog Games, and I'll see you guys next time.